Hello, everybody. Welcome to Encounter Balance. My name is Jeff. Wanted to come here today and talk about my experiences as a player playing in Absolute Tabletop's Adventure Kit playtest, Oath of the Frozen King. I've gotten to play it 4 times so far, and just as a advance warning, I have not actually seen the module yet, so I won't be able to talk about its structure or layout or anything like that. But I can talk about what it was like to be a player playing in it 4 different times so far. So I'm going to go into a little bit there. There will be some minor spoilers, hopefully nothing too crazy, but if you haven't played in it yet and you're going to be playing in it soon, then either hold off watching this and catch it after you get to play. First things first, I just wanted to give a shout out to the 4 DMs that I got to play this under. They all did an absolutely wonderful job with this module. Uh, so shout outs to Chris Wilhelm, who runs the YouTube channel Drop Dice, Drake Warren, who runs RPG Construct, Rob Coletta, who does Performance Check, and Alan Holloway, who does Check for Traps. They all did a wonderful job running this game and really made it a memorable experience each time, which is saying something for a module to be able to play it essentially 4 times through and have it be enjoyable, like truly enjoyable every single time. So, getting into the module itself, the first thing and most important thing is it's a fun module to play through. Uh, Absolutely no doubts about it. I had a good time playing it every time that I played through it. Which I've played through some modules where that was not the case. I'm not normally a module kind of guy, and the whole adventure kit thing um, really kind of finds that sweet spot that they talk about in the adventure kit of enough structure that you have something to work off of, but not so much that it feels like you're kind of on that module track that can build in sometimes. Uh, yeah, it was really enjoyable to play through each time. And something that really stood out about the kit for me, the adventure kit, is how easy it is to tweak and twist into exactly what you want it to be. Every time I played through it, it was reskinned in a different way. Only one time did I actually play like as written Frozen King, and even that was a little bit adjusted. Of course, with an adventure kit, since it's not the whole thing, it's always going to be a little bit different. But in Chris Wilhelm's game, Drop Dice's game, we were in a desert theme with snakes and poison traps instead of the whole ice theme. Drake Warren's from RPG Construct, we were in essentially a Feywild forest. Rob Coletta kept his performance check, kept his in the whole icy theme, but he reskinned it specifically for his world to fit in with his lore and his story. And then Alan ran the game as is, with just a couple of his own players added in. And the fact that you can play through a module and basically turn it into whatever you want, you can fit it in your world so easily, is is really cool. I really enjoyed how adaptable it is to exactly what you want it to be. Like I even have some ideas for if I were to run it when I end up getting it. Some other ways that I would reskin it that haven't been done yet. And there's a couple other playtests that I've seen posts go up for that would reskin it even in different ways so far, and it's pretty crazy. Um, the idea of like reskinning a module, like a full adventure book, into your own world would be very daunting to make it work. You'd have to do a lot of legwork to make it work, and even then, I don't know how rewarding it would be to end up doing that. But the adventure kit, it seems super easy just to be able to essentially just snap your fingers and have it fit with what you want to do. I know a couple of the people that ran it so far put like 30 minutes of prep in at the most, or an hour, and just made it work. And the fact that you can do that is really nice. As far as replayability goes, because that is one of the things they talk about in their videos, is this is something that you can do a couple times a year, or even more so than that. You can run this once every other month, indefinitely, essentially. And in a lot of ways, that is true. A couple spoiler things coming up here, but a couple things as far as replayability that kind of strike me that might be difficult is things like the riddle. There's only so many answers you can make a riddle have, even tweaking it a little bit, before you essentially just have to start making up your own encounters if you want to keep a riddle in there instead. And the magic item and things like that. So finding a way to tweak that and have, I don't know if the book has different options that weren't explored in the playtests I did, or if it was, and obviously the module can't just be a catch-all for every time you want to run it for all eternity. You're going to have to do some work to run it that many times, but that could be a point of looking into, is having alternate options. I know there were more encounters in the module than I played in the playtest, so that would help a lot too, to have to bring some different dynamics into it. But that is something that I thought of that might be an issue. As far as the module itself, uh, some really good things about it. As far as the actual mechanics of the game, it did a good job, and a part of this is the wonderful DMs that ran it, but it did a very good job of feeling challenging, but not overbearing. Like every time that I went through it, uh, we all ended the session like pretty battered, pretty hurt. Some people went down. Uh, One character died in in one of the games that I played in Rob's game. To be fair, I fireballed him for a lot of damage, which didn't help his survival. But uh, the fact that you can kind of have that edge of your seat experience without feeling like you're just getting beaten down is a thing that's been surprisingly difficult for me to find in fifth edition. So it was really cool to see how this kit kind of balanced that off perfectly. Find that nice sweet spot where you're taxing players, you're taking their resources. Some of the traps are just brutal in a perfect way, where it doesn't feel unfair, but it feels like it hurts. It hurts to get hit by them without feeling brutal or unnecessary or gimmicky. So the balance of the kit was surprisingly very good for fifth edition. There was also a really good mixture of exploration and combat and riddle and puzzle encounters and role play. Really had a good opportunity to get the whole experience uh, all in one kit, which again was a really nice experience to be able to have and go through that. As far as criticisms, one thing that I did notice in a couple of the games, it does feel like it can start a little bit slow. Like if I were to run this, I would definitely want to find some way to start it off with a little bit more flair. Uh, it can be important to introduce the world and kind of get a feel for the setting, and it does do a good job of kind of introducing. But at least in a couple of the ones that I played in so far, for the first good chunk of it, there wasn't really a whole lot going on. There was a lot of exposition, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. It can be done really well, and it was done really well in the games that I played in. Uh, but that is something potentially that could be looked into, is finding a way to, the moment you get into the game, find some way to bring everybody in and then kind of level it back off into some exposition before kind of building it back up towards the end of the adventure kit. And yeah, I mean, overall, absolutely wonderful product. Shout, just big hand to the Absolute Tabletop guys for what they're doing with this kit. The adventure kit idea as a whole, I just absolutely love. I'm not a module guy. I've never had good experiences trying to run a module, and even playing in them for the most part has just been average at best. But the adventure kit really, it didn't feel moduly to me at all, which is great. So big hand to what they're doing so far. Again, I can't comment too much on the structure of the kit itself as far as the materials and how they're laid out, anything like that, because I haven't seen it yet. But I just wanted to kind of get some ideas out there as far as what playing in it was like. And yeah, if there's any questions about anything about what it was like to play in it, or any ideas that I might have about anything else, I'd be happy to talk about it with anybody who's interested. But I'll go ahead and wrap this video up for now. Again, if you're not part of the Absolute Tabletop Facebook group, or you haven't checked out any of their products, definitely do. It's wonderful community, the best tabletop RPG community I've ever been a part of by far. Um, just a wonderful place to be, and tons of great game masters and players all looking to get games going. So definitely check that out. Check out the Absolute Tabletop website, because they make some absolutely wonderful products. Really great things that I'm looking forward to using in my own games as I get my hands on more and more of them. I'll put links to everything that I talked about here, all the people's channels, all the websites, things like that in the description. So go ahead and give them all a shout out and a check because they deserve it. So yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap it up for now. But I appreciate you checking this out and listening, and I'll catch you next.